Once described as the world's youngest self-made female billionaire, Elizabeth Holmes, founder of the now-defunct blood testing company Theranos, has been found guilty of defrauding investors.
It's a case that captivated Silicon Valley, and after months on trial, a US jury convicted Holmes on 4 of 11 counts, including conspiracy.
The prosecutors said she knowingly lied about Theranos technology, claiming it could detect diseases with just a pinprick of blood. Holmes now faces up to 80 years in prison. Well, Santosh Rao is head of research at Manhattan Venture Partners. Santosh, good to see you. To what extent does this case highlight the risks of being an early investor in something that is yet to form into something tangible?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good morning. Well, this is a case where all early investments, especially in healthcare, especially in biotech, are very speculative. So there's a big unknown all along. But in this case, she crossed a few lines, and that's in the beginning. It's all about trust. It's in the belief in the founder, their vision, their idea. But when you cross the line and you go into defraud territory, lying territory, the red lines, you can't cross those lines. I think that was the big mistake here. She had a good idea. It was not working. She could have just come out and said, okay, it's not working. It failed. And failure is not a bad thing. It happens a lot. But she just kind of kept on doing it and lying about it. And that's where the fault was.
I wonder what lessons have investors in particular learned from the rise and fall of Theranos?
Yes, a lot of lessons. I think this should send a chill down Silicon Valley in early investors. You cannot, just don't invest. Just don't go by reputation. Just don't go by just people saying big things. You need to do your due diligence. This was a case of someone with very good pedigree, great number of followers, great number of people who believed in her. So people just bought into that. And it happens a lot. When you have some big investors in there, people believe that. They think that the others have done the due diligence, so they don't do that. So I think going forward, you're going to see investors being very cautious, not buy into the hype, and do some homework of their own, which they should have done in this case.
Well, what about that? I wonder, does the blame lie solely with the company's founder, or is this much more complex than that?
Yeah, I think it's slightly more complex. It's definitely the biggest share goes to her, the founders. You cannot betray the trust of the people because as it is, everyone's going blind. It's a new idea. It's a disruptive idea. There's no real roadmap in there. So you're coming here with a new idea and people believe that. You have a vision. So you're supposed to get out there and tell us what's going on. And this happens a lot. In fact, in one paper published in the European Journal, I think this was in 2019, more than 50% of healthcare companies that have raised more than $1 billion have not published peer-approved papers about their ideas. So I think that's a big thing. People are just taking the money, going about their ways, forgetting accountability and responsibility, which is important. So in this case, I would say the founder takes the blame totally. Investors will get more cautious going forward, but they did what all investors do in the early stage companies, believe in the idea, believe in the founders. And so I don't blame them. But at some point, I think they should have said, what's going on and put more pressure on her.
Santosh, good to see you. Thanks very much indeed for coming on the program. Santosh Rao there for us.